I was saying Yashaba Rico from RicoScores, and the rookies are already reporting. We officially start rookie minicamp tomorrow, and it goes all the way through Sunday. So I felt like this was the perfect time to give y'all a big Jayden Daniels update before I start having to give y'all all of the updates on all of the rookies and things like that. I wanted to go ahead and put the microscope on Jayden Daniels. First of all, we got to talk about the fact that he may actually end up getting the number 5 from Tress Way. He may be able to wear his college number at the NFL level. They've talked about it. We're going to break that down, see what's going on there. Also, we got to break down how hard he's been working since after the draft. And we're talking about as far as like interviews, and we're going to dive into a lot of the notable quotes that he had in a lot of his interviews as well. But I'm also talking about on the field wise, playbook wise, installing the offense playbook and learning cadences, like a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to dive into all of that. Also, the national media have said a few things and raved about him since after the draft, since the last time I updated y'all on him as well. So we're going to dive into how a lot of the national media feels about the Commanders getting him and how they feel like he will potentially be a successful quarterback at the next level. And man, he's just really been busy. We got to talk about the fact that he's about to go to this rookie thing and the bet that he has with his LSU teammate Malik Neighbors, who's now on the Giants. We have so many things to talk about and cover in this video, but before we dive into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm keeping y'all updated on everything going on with the Commanders, your one-stop shop, especially everything draft center, and we're starting to get to these off-season practices, so I'm gonna keep you updated and keep it a super 100 with y'all. Who's looking good, who's not. Well, with the bad moments, the good moments from each player, because some people may have mixed days. Maybe they had a good moment at the beginning of practice and then had a bad moment to finish practice, or vice versa. So y'all know I'm gonna keep y'all updated with everything going on that I can get my hands on as far as these practices go as well. And we're about to start working on these film sessions of everybody that we drafted and some notable undrafted free agents leading up to training camp. And let's go ahead and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. Well, literally while I was recording, we might as well just go ahead and address this now. I was going to save it towards the end of the video because there was no like foregone conclusion to it. But now Tress Way has officially put out this video with Jayden Daniels included in it as well.
Guys, this is Tress Way. I understand that there's been a little bit of hype going on about a certain number. Maybe you could take a look around, maybe a little bit behind me. You'll see if there's any big news, but I think there may be somebody new in town.
So it looks like Jayden Daniels will wear that number 5 jersey. I'm excited. I really wanted him to get it. The debates that we had going on with this was just crazy. I mean, I love Tress Way, man, and you could argue that he was like our most consistent player for a while, but a punter should never stop your franchise quarterback from getting the number that he wants. I've seen some people say the argument that he needs to earn the number and things like that. Just go ahead and give him the number, man. I guess it's just me being optimistic and assuming that he's going to be our franchise quarterback of the future. I prefer for him to go ahead and get the number that he wants right now. If I were him, I would want the number, and I don't know if they work something out behind the scenes. I saw some people put some theories out there that maybe like they do like a donation thing where like every touchdown he scores he donates, and then the NFL or the Commanders match the donation towards like a Tress Way Foundation or something like that. Whatever gets done, cool with it. I'm just happy that it's done. Jayden Daniels will wear number 5. JP Finley just tweeted a couple of hours ago. He said sources tell me Tress Way and Jayden Daniels have talked about number 5. Been told the conversation went great. Nothing finalized yet, but something can happen soon. Rookie minicamp opens tomorrow, and now look at it. Just a couple of hours later, Tress Way put out that video, and it is finalized. Jayden Daniels will wear number 5. Now let's go ahead and move on to the main parts of these videos. Well, let's first talk about how the national media feels about Jayden Daniels and the love that we've been getting since drafting him, since the last time I've even done a video talking about Jayden Daniels. First of all, Bucky Brooks is very hyped about Jayden Daniels being a part of the Washington Commanders and what the potential could be with him in this Cliff Kingsbury's offense. He said, quote, "They have the firepower to be able to light it up," unquote. And Brian Baldinger has done several videos several appearances on NFL Network talking very highly about Jayden Daniels and his fit for this offense. So I'm excited about that. Then you have sportingnews.com. I already did like draft grade and reviews from the national media for the Washington Commanders draft, but then there were some more recent ones that happened since after I did that video. We're only going to talk about the ones that are talking about Jayden Daniels. Sportingnews.com wise gave us an A for drafting Jayden Daniels. They gave the Patriots a B for getting Drake May. So they felt like we obviously made the better choice. And even with Jayden Daniels off the table, they still didn't necessarily feel like Drake May was as good of a pick, which is really interesting. They said the Commanders made the right choice over Drake May, given Daniels can be like Lamar Jackson with his running ability and big play passing. That lines up well with new offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, who made the most out of Kyler Murray in Arizona early. Daniels has high athletic ceiling as a fellow Heisman winner to Williams. Then Walter Football as well gave us an A grade for drafting Jayden Daniels, gave the Patriots an A- for getting Drake May. He said 3 possible quarterbacks were discussed as a possibility for the Redskins at number 2. Ultimately, Washington made the correct decision. While J.J. McCarthy has a high floor and Drake May possesses an enormous ceiling, Jayden Daniels maintains both. He was the right choice for the Redskins despite some drama that occurred between him and the organization during the top 30 visit. We're going to talk about that later too, because Jayden Daniels addressed that in the Keyshawn Johnson interview that he had just like an hour long. If you haven't gone to go check that out, please go watch that after you're done with this video. But he addressed that and a lot of other things. Again, we'll get there. Just a little sneak peek to what we're going to talk about a little later in the video. Bill Belichick said about Jayden Daniels, quote, "Great leader, teammates really play for him," unquote. That's high praise from a Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick also said that Jayden Daniels was the number 2 player on his entire draft board. Not just QB2, but player 2 in total, regardless of position. That's very high praise there as well. Nick Saban, going from one great to another, Nick Saban comps Jayden Daniels to Lamar Jackson and Randall Cunningham and makes the key point that Daniels is a passer who can run opposed to a runner who can pass. I feel like that's a very important distinction. Yeah, he has great mobility, great agility, can run really fast and things like that, but he's a passer first, and that's why I feel like not only is he going to be very successful, but that's also why I feel like he is nothing like RG3. I hate those comps and comparisons. Also, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, and a few other draft analysts, among many others, not only feel like Jayden Daniels was the best quarterback available at number 2 overall, but anywhere that you look, they will tell you that they straight up felt like Jayden Daniels was the best quarterback in the entire draft, including Caleb Williams. Orlovsky even said that he thinks Jayden Daniels will throw for 25 plus touchdowns in his rookie seasons, and he's been doing breakdowns on NFL Live, ESPN. He's been doing breakdowns on his own Twitter account, just showing y'all exactly why Jayden Daniels should not only be able to ball out and be a great quarterback at some point in his career, but he's also predicting he's going to go right out the gate rookie season balling. I'm super excited. I love to hear that from quarterback guys that know football, guys that have played the sport, coached the sport. Love to hear it. And also, if you watch the CJ Stroud and Micah Parsons draft live stream, like literally during the draft when we took Jayden Daniels, when we finally drafted Jayden Daniels after that, Micah Parsons talked about how paranoid Dan Quinn used to get when game planning for Jalen Hurts and other dual threat quarterbacks. And a lot of other analysts brought up that point as well leading up to the draft, that Dan Quinn, being a defensive-minded head coach, was going to want the mobile quarterback. They described him as that he takes the soul of a defense, because you can do everything right game plan-wise, have the right guys in the right spots, and he can still find a way to embarrass you and pick up a first down at the worst possible moment for a defense. So basically, the pick was Jayden the entire time, just to let y'all know. It's been that way. This was not a last-second decision. They've known it was Jayden the whole time. And again, people like Charles Davis brought up the fact that with Dan Quinn being a defensive-minded head coach, he has to be salivating over the option of being able to get a guy like Jayden Daniels with his legs. Also, it came out a few days ago that 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk and 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan advocated strongly to Commanders GM Adam Peters to draft Jayden Daniels. So Adam Peters not only has his head coach who prefers Jayden Daniels, but his previous head coach with the 49ers and one of the star players on the 49ers that he was a part of bringing to the 49ers organization, and Brandon Aiyuk, both telling him, hey man, get that Jayden Daniels kid. Do not overthink it. Get him for sure. It says in the article, one source says San Francisco receiver Brandon Aiyuk, a close friend of Jayden Daniels. Yeah, mind you, Brandon Aiyuk and Jayden Daniels are literally best friends. Like immediately after the draft, the night after the draft, or the night of the draft, after Jayden Daniels was already on the Washington Commanders, he out on his Washington Commanders draft hat and everything. Him and Brandon Aiyuk hanging out together, chilling. I'm assuming Brandon Aiyuk plays in California, in San Francisco, and Jayden Daniels is from the IE. So I'm assuming that Jayden Daniels went back to Cali to hang with him and things like that. But they are literally best friends. Like, he's close to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, of course, because they were just playing together at LSU. But I would say that he's even closer, a closer friend to Brandon Aiyuk. So that goes a lot. Of course, Brandon Aiyuk would say that he wants Jayden Daniels to go as high as possible in the draft. Maybe he's also setting us up to where, okay, Jayden Daniels go to the Commanders, stay put, be patient, I'll be there next year in free agency type of thing. Who knows? But also, most importantly, the fact that Kyle Shanahan, who of course Peters worked with for 7 years, also gave Daniels a glowing review as well. And that has no benefit to Kyle Shanahan at all. I can see Brandon Aiyuk, that's his best friend. That makes all of the sense in the world, of course. But Kyle Shanahan is an interesting one right there. Also, shouts out to Scott Barrett for basically putting together how all NFL teams, at least teams that were in the quarterback market, basically felt about all of the top draft quarterbacks. When it came to Jayden Daniels, Commanders GM Adam Peters said, quote, he was the highest ranked player in the draft for us, unquote. And he didn't specify if that meant that included Caleb Williams or not, but either way, great to hear. And then when it came to Drake May, Patriots head coach said that they were comfortable with either of the three guys. If we took Drake May, they would have been happy to take Jayden Daniels. So that just lets you know that the Patriots were cool with both, but the Commanders' end of things, we clearly prefer Jayden Daniels over a Drake May. And even beyond that, just to dig a little deeper, the Giants felt like after Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, and Drake May, every other quarterback available was worse than who they already have as a backup quarterback in Drew Luck. That's actually really interesting information right there. And then it's also being reported again that by John Com that the Commanders had McCarthy over Drake May. So if it wasn't Jayden Daniels, it would have been JJ McCarthy, just to give you that heads up. Just something quick, we're talking about Jayden Daniels in this video, but I felt like that was interesting information just to make sure that, and if y'all missed it when I talked about it in another video a couple of weeks ago. Also, Jim Nagy, Mr. Senior Bowl himself, had a few tweets about Jayden Daniels that I thought were very interesting. Starting from one all the way back in December 2023, he said Daniels was the most improved offensive player we graded for Senior Bowl last year. Last season, 2022 tape was pretty dang good. It didn't just suddenly happen this year. So he's basically saying that, yeah, Jayden Daniels has suddenly risen up draft boards this 2023 season, but he was showing a lot of great flashes in 2022 as well. It's not like he just came out of nowhere and was suddenly great. You saw it. As a Georgia Bulldog fan, I know the SEC championship last year, not this 2023 season, but the one from the 2022 season that happened in 2023, he was killing us. We won that because LSU's defense was terrible. He was killing our defense. That was the most vulnerable I think I've ever seen our defense. It was between that and what CJ Stroud did to us in the playoffs soon after that. I believe the very next game, SEC championship, then we had the playoffs against Ohio State. That was like our two worst games that we had to play. So hopefully Jayden Daniels has a lot in common with CJ Stroud as far as going out there as a rookie, balling out as well, and also being two quarterbacks to put the most fear in the Georgia Bulldog elite historical defense's hearts, man. Jayden Daniels had us on the run. So that's why I already knew about him before the 2023 season even happened, because I was like, yo, who is this killing us? And then if you go back and look at the tape, he showed a lot of flashes in 2022. So I agree with Jim Nagy there. I felt like that was a great point. And then also going all the way back to November 2023, Jim Nagy said, spoken to a few SEC defensive coordinators this fall before they've played LSU, and the game plan is always to contain Jayden Daniels. Nobody can do it though. Can't prepare how slippery and how fast he is. Multiple Heisman moments tonight. And this was him tweeting about the Florida game. We'll get to that later, because boy, oh boy, Jayden Daniels put that work on them Florida Gators. And as a Georgia Bulldog fan, I love nothing more than to see that. Also, Dan Quinn, either yesterday, I think it was yesterday, he went on the Big 100 radio. And when he was asked about what he sees in Jayden Daniels, he said, quote, what makes him unique is like at his core, this is a dog and an A-word competitor, unquote. So Dan Quinn not only loves who Jayden Daniels is physically, traits-wise, but also intangibles, where he's at in his head, personality. He absolutely loves everything about Jayden Daniels top to bottom, and that's how you would hope a head coach would feel about a number 2 overall draft pick, no matter what position he is. Now, also, let's move on to some interesting Jayden Daniels stats and quotes. First of all, shouts out to Lenny friggin' Leo on Twitter, because he brings up a great point, and I also agree with this, that it wasn't just the 2022 season with LSU as well. He showed flashes at Arizona State at times too. Remember, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Like, this was a highly coveted guy, and he's also the first quarterback to ever start as a freshman at Arizona State. So let's just go ahead and put that out there as well. But Lenny friggin' Leo on Twitter said, I think people really underestimate how bad ASU actually was. With Jayden Daniels' talent alone, they were a consistent 8-win team despite the turmoil behind the scenes. They had a lot going on. They had a lot going on off the field. Maybe not Dan Snyder level, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty chaotic. LSU was by far the most stability he's ever had in his collegiate career, so that probably played a large role in that as well. He continues to say, without Jayden, they became a back-to-back 3-win team immediately. Also, Max Johnson had Malik Neighbors and Brian Johnson and was not dominating the SEC. Malik Neighbors and Brian Johnson finally came onto people's radars after Jayden Daniels was balling out with them. He went 10-13 while Jayden Daniels went 20-7 compared to, again, Max Johnson with those same weapons. And plus, if you go back and watch the Arizona State versus Oregon game when Justin Herbert was still there, Jayden Daniels outdueled Justin Herbert. And that was the year before he went into the draft and eventually won Rookie of the Year at the NFL level. And I highly doubt Arizona State was the better team in that game against Oregon. I mean, it was purely really just Jayden Daniels, and they had some really good receivers as well. And some of them, I forgot the number, because I was watching it recently, like a few days ago. One of those guys in that game was going crazy. I don't know what happened to that guy. I don't know if it was injuries, but we've kind of lost track of where he's gone. But he was balling out. So they had some good receivers. Brandon Aiyuk was in that game. But outside of that, Oregon easily had the better team. And Jayden Daniels just straight up outperformed Justin Herbert, who then within less than a year, well, within like the next year, was winning Rookie of the Year at the NFL level. So it's not like this was like the bad Justin Herbert. Also, if you haven't seen Jordan Palmer's film breakdown of Jayden Daniels on YouTube titled What Commanders Fans Can Expect from Jayden Daniels, parentheses, film breakdown, parentheses, then you need to go check that out as soon as you are done with this video. Excellent breakdown. Brought up a lot of points that some other people have never brought up. Like, he brought up some really interesting things about Jayden Daniels. I just wanted to make sure I shouted that out. Make sure you go check that out after this video. And then also, November 11th, 2023. That game that he had against Florida was insane. He threw for 372 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, while also rushing for 234 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That is 606 total yards. He is the only player in FBS history to have at least 350 passing yards and 200 rushing yards in a single game. And I love it. First of all, as a diehard Georgia Bulldog fan, I couldn't pick a better team for it to happen to. Them sorry little Florida Gators. Oh, I love it. But most importantly, number 2, I love how in this post-draft press conference, after he first got drafted by the Commanders, when the reporters asked him about his skill set, he just told them to go watch the Florida game. That's it. They asked him another question, trying to get him to like specify like why you think you could be a great quarterback at the NFL level. And Jayden Daniels literally just kept telling them, just go watch the Florida game. Like, not wasting any time explaining himself. I'm good at this. I'm good at this. He literally just said, go turn on the Florida game. It's in the tape. That's it. That's all you need to know. Love that answer. Love the personality in that answer. Also, he was interviewed while still at the draft by @OvertimeDay on TikTok, and they asked him, who was Washington getting? Jayden Daniels said, a dog. Then they asked, when did you find out you were a dog? Jayden Daniels said, since birth. I liked it too. It was quick too. He didn't even have to think about it. It was straight off the head. Very natural. And then, of course, we have the infamous Keyshawn Johnson interview with him and his son, who's also named Keyshawn Johnson. They had Jayden Daniels on there. It's like a 55-minute interview, the most in-depth interview I've seen of anybody doing with Jayden Daniels, because they're always like maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. This is the longest one by far. And they asked him straight up, which teammate in Washington are you the most looking forward to passing to? And he said Terry McLaurin. Terry's a dog. He also named a few other receivers as well, but he immediately went to Terry McLaurin. Like he lit up. He was like, man, basically he couldn't wait to throw it to Terry McLaurin. Also, he was asked about Cliff Kingsbury's system and offense, and Jayden Daniels says that he is really excited about the system. Especially he talked about outside of this Keyshawn Johnson interview, like he ran through all of the quarterbacks that Cliff Kingsbury has developed and have gotten great numbers out of while being their head coach, college and NFL wise. And Jayden Daniels loved that. And then in the Keyshawn Johnson interview, he talked about how Cliff Kingsbury is also being very open-minded, and it's a collaborative effort. He's asking Jayden Daniels what he wants in the offense, basically. What do you want? How can we help me help you type of thing? I absolutely love that from Cliff Kingsbury. So again, make sure you go watch the entire nearly 60-minute interview because he dives into everything. He talks about the virtual reality thing that Josh Harris has already bought for him that he was using at LSU that helped him mightily. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the video as well. He talked about the combine and how he didn't test there and how people asked him weird questions about it. He talked about the visit to the Top Golf and how much he actually was cool with it. It was straight to him. He talks about the scheme with Cliff Kingsbury. He talked about team expectations when he expects to start. He talked about a lot of the teammates and things like that. But hey, man, why he say in the interview that we drafted Christian McCaffrey's little brother? Like, you don't know his name, that you ain't even gonna try and act like you know his name. You could have just said the McCaffrey wide receiver. He called him he was like, Christian McCaffrey little brother, we got him too, something like that. I'm like, man, his name is Luke. Like, you clearly don't care that much, huh? You don't even know his first name yet, just Christian McCaffrey's brother. Like, I thought that was hilarious. And even more about Jayden Daniels' personality that I like, and I feel like a lot of this was going over people's heads when they watched the interview. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. But when Keyshawn asked him about rookie hazing, he was super over it. He had that, like, don't even play with me like that type of face and answer. Like, he kept it so short and nonchalant with his answer, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it because they asked him if he was looking forward to it, and he was basically like, no, I'm not looking forward to none of that. Like on some leave me alone and I'll leave you alone type of stuff. Like, I don't even play games like that because, hey man, all I know is if I were in the NFL, I'm sorry, I'm not playing like that. I'm not playing them type of games. I'm not going for none of that. I don't care about none of that type of stuff, no matter the situation, NFL, whatever, any of that hazing stuff. I don't play them games, just me personally. Like, I mean, a prank, cool, like a million fruit snacks in the car type of thing. Ha, that's cool, I guess. But telling me what to do, dead. Cutting my hair, like how they did Tim Tebow, dead. Y'all gonna have to come cut it yourself. You please show me how you plan on going about that. But it goes both ways. So just like Jayden Daniels, I completely agree. He kind of gave off the attitude like, I'm not letting anybody do that to me, and also I'm not interested in doing that to anybody else. I just don't involve myself with them type of games. That's the type of energy that Jayden Daniels had in that interview. I loved it. Also, I like how Jayden Daniels was literally smiling basically the entire interview until they talked about that, until they talked about the rookie hazing. Even with that 60,000 fruit snack situation where they put it in somebody's car, some rookie hazing situation in the NFL, you could tell Jayden Daniels was really stuck on the fact that somebody spent that much money just to do something stupid like that. Like, Keyshawn was ready to move on, and Jayden Daniels kept bringing it up like, yo, like 60,000 fruit snacks. Like, somebody, he basically didn't say it directly, but you could tell he was like, man, somebody spent that much money to do something that stupid. Like, I mean, I'm all cool with pranks and stuff, but Jayden Daniels clearly just doesn't see the value in any of it, not even a prank like that. And the only thing I didn't like from the interview, to be completely honest with you, this is just me being Rico, this is just Rico here, but I hated how he had on everything black and they had on some white socks, some long white socks too. Like, he wanted us to see them. Like, he must love them white socks or something, man. I mean, black shoes with white socks is just crazy to me. I mean, my own mom ain't gonna let me go out in public with her having some black shoes and white socks on, especially some long ones. That was the only thing that bothered me in the interview. Everything else perfect. I loved his answers. I loved his personality. I feel like I could definitely relate to him even more than I previously thought before I even watched the interview. He's my type of guy. Also, him and Malik Neighbors apparently have a $10,000 bet on who will win a Offensive Rookie of the Year. And he even said it in the interview. He was like, man, that wasn't supposed to come out. Malik Neighbors was supposed to keep that a secret. And I'm not about to come out here and lie and act like we didn't make the bet and make him look stupid since he already said it. Well, it's whatever. Yes, we do have a bet. And of course, You know, the no fun league, you know, that's what the NFL stands for, no fun league. You know, they had to step in. Or as of today, they already sent out a memo. Jayden Daniels will be educated on the NFL sports gambling policy this week at the Commanders rookie minicamp. A person with knowledge of the matter said likely nixing the quarterback's wager with Malik Neighbors. And it's really not that serious. Like, y'all are so weird for that. I completely agree with Michael Phillips, the Commanders reporter, when he says total non-story. No different than two dudes at the golf course having fun. The NFL might have a gambling problem, but this ain't it. I completely agree with that tweet there. And also, Lamar Jackson had an interview. The only reason this relates to Jayden Daniels is because he was asked how much he weighs. He said that he lost 25 pounds since 2022. Now he's down to 205 pounds. I think Jayden Daniels is good. With the 210, 215 that he's supposedly at right now, I think he'll be fine if Lamar is all the way down to 205. We'll be okay. And then outside even working on his own game and going on interviews and things like that, now he has to, this whole rookie showcase he has to go to. Of course, the NFLPA invited 40 players to his annual rookie premiere in Los Angeles from May 16th to 19th. So Jayden Daniels is almost going back home. He's from the IE, right there next to LA. So I'm pretty sure he's happy that it's taking place in a place like that. He can be with his family and things like that. And a list provided by the Union of Teams of Players Invited, which includes the top 4 draft picks from Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison, of course. And my first major observations is, first of all, we got Jayden Daniels and Luke McCaffrey there. So that's pretty cool. It's only 40 players, and we have 2 offensive players right there. Also, it's only 2 defensive players out of the entire 40 guys that are going. Again, Luke McCaffrey was a 3rd round pick, and I'm happy that he's going there to represent the Commanders, but only 2 defensive players out of the whole list. You have Dallas Turner from Alabama. And where did he ended up getting drafted to the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. And then you also had Latu from UCLA, who was going to the Colts. Everybody else is an offensive player. The other 38 guys, which is pretty crazy. And y'all know, of course, I noticed my Georgia Bulldogs up there. My boy Brock Bowers, Lad McConkey, A.D. Mitchell. You know, I couldn't skip past that. Couldn't help myself there. And now work ethic wise, per John Combs' article of Jayden Daniels, he said during his private plane ride home after his news conference in Washington, so I guess he went back to Cali for a while with his family, Daniels, surrounded by family and friends, spent an hour of the trip pretending to stand at the line of scrimmage, calling out checks or plays that he already knew from the Commanders playbook. This guy is not playing. Surrounded by by friends and family, the people closest to him, just got drafted, supposed to be chilling, celebrating. He's in the playbook going crazy and even standing up and simulating what it will be like calling checks and changing plays and things like that at the line of scrimmage on the private plane with his family. Love it. And then on top of that, Jayden Daniels' QB coach Taylor Kelly told Grant and Paulson on their radio show that he and Daniels have spent the last week or 2 working through Cliff Kingsbury playbook, and they've already been practicing those throws specifically. So it's not just mentally like what plays and changes at the line of scrimmage and audibles and route concepts, blocking schemes and things like that, like the X's and O's, but it's also, okay, Cliff Kingsbury is going to want me to really take advantage of these type of throws. Let me get my arms and my eyes and my footwork and my body mechanics and everything like that tailored to those throws. I love that. That's very detailed work. Also, what came out earlier today, Jayden Daniels has not been playing. So it's not just playbook, the brain. It's not just throws, the arms. It's also his legs as well. Look at this clip of him training right now from CR Training on Instagram.
Left. Change. Re-accelerate, take off. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And I'm not even about to sit here and lie and act like I know exactly how this exercise workout helps him. Like I'm not about to sit here and act like I'm just this super genius coach or something, but I did like how when he came to the bottom of the screen and he told him to change directions, he was going way, and he was able to turn around so fluidly, so smoothly, and just go the other way like he just nothing ever happened. I could just see a DB trying to tackle him. He pull out that type of agility, and the guy completely only tackle air, only tackle Jayden Daniels' shadow. So that was the part about that I was excited about. But of course, again, I'm not like a super coach guy, so I don't exactly know how that drill is super benefiting him, but I like to see that he's working. And then you also have some pictures of him right here where it looks like he's back home in the IE working on some other things as well. So this guy, no matter what outfit, no matter what location, DMV, California, this guy's putting in as much work as he possibly can, anywhere he can, even in the sky on a private jet, doing whatever he can. In the meantime, before we get together, rookie minicamp, of course, tomorrow. Can't wait to see him. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on everything there. And then also, like I already talked about in another video, with the VR stuff, just to confirm again, Josh Harris is in fact buying the German virtual reality technology that Jayden Daniels had at LSU. Again, like I predicted months ago, because I was like, why not? Josh Harris has gone above and beyond to spend every penny possible to get even the most marginal advantages possible for the Washington Commanders, whether it's in the front office side, coaching side, player side, facility, stadium. He already has a big multi-million dollar budget to improve those things as well. I was like, there's no way he doesn't bring over that VR technology that he had at LSU. Josh Harris is doing any and everything in his power to give us even the smallest advantages. So it just felt like it only made sense. Now the VR, just to let you know, is a system that creates an immersive game-like environment for quarterbacks, allowing them to practice decision-making skills in realistic scenarios. Jayden Daniels used it in practice, reading defenses and executing plays in a fraction of a second, often faster than actual game speed. So basically, he practices with the VR at a speed faster than in real life. So when he gets in the games, his mental processing feels super quick, and it's almost like faster than the real human athletes are. So it's easier for him to pick those guys apart in real life with his reading the defense and going through his progressions and then attacking them with his arm. Because of course, a lot of people feel that Jayden Daniels' leap at LSU was probably largely due to this technology. I feel like, again, there was steady progress and there were flashes in previous years as well, even going back to Arizona State. But I feel like this did play a large role into how quick he was able to go through progressions, read defenses pre and post snap. Again, if you're doing this virtual reality thing all of the time and you're seeing things way quicker than they are in real life, when you get to real life, I'm hoping that his transition to the NFL speed won't be as bad. Because, hey, let's just turn that VR to super hard boss mode, like super calamity level video game mode, like God's Hero mode type of thing. So when he gets in the games, everything seems slower and easier to him. And just to let you know, yes, this is very new. I believe other NFL teams are trying to get a hold of it, other college teams. I know my Georgia Bulldogs better. I don't want LSU having any advantage over us in any way. I don't care what it is. But other than that, Jayden Daniels was actually one of the main guinea pigs for this. Like, they would literally come to him, the German scientists behind this VR technology, ask him what he liked, what his preferences were, and then they would tweak their whole invention and software and things like that based on Jayden Daniels' preferences. So I'm really excited about that. It should be very easy for him to take that to the NFL and continue to use it. And if y'all remember, I dedicated an entire 10 minutes breaking down the virtual reality technology, the history of it, how they came up with it, how Jayden Daniels used it specifically. I did a super deep breakdown. So how it works, all of that type of stuff. Go check that out in another video that I did where I was breaking down Jayden Daniels' weaknesses and strengths months ago. But long story short, it helped him with a lot of his mental and nuance aspects of the sport. And I said back then that I would again be surprised if Josh Harris doesn't bring that technology over here for him. There you go. Josh Harris will spend every dollar necessary to give his team advantages any way possible. I absolutely love it. And also, before we get up out of here, Jayden Daniels was asked which NFL star is he most excited to play against. He said he wants to play against Lamar Jackson. So that's Battle of the Beltway. We're going to get that this season. I'm excited. Can't wait for him to go against the guy that he's most excited to play against. And also, he's going to have to go against Caleb Williams this year as well. We are already starting to see some of these leaks from the NFL schedule releasing and things like that, as always, but we don't get it until this upcoming Wednesday anyway. But of course, Caleb Williams, it's a home game too. So Caleb Williams is going to come to his own hometown, DC, DMV area, and have to go against Jayden Daniels. Number 1 pick versus number 2 pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they make that a primetime game, at least an 8 p.m. game for everybody to see. But I hope it's a 1 p.m. game, me personally, but that's just selfish reasons. I like to stream from 1 to 4, do my video review, and do the call-in show all the way up to 8 p.m. So I prefer that. I prefer as many 1 p.m. games as possible, but I would be surprised if they don't showcase that later on, or at least if they hold it till later in the season to see if both Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels are good, not just one of them or neither of them, and then they hold it till the end of the season to see, okay, maybe this is a game we flex into like a primetime game later on after we have enough evidence to see that both of those quarterbacks are balling out. Also, before we get up out of here, JP Finley brings up a great point. Washington fans should be excited about a fresh start from top to bottom. Expectations should be raised, but it's also important not to make this a quarterback savior situation. Let Jayden Daniels develop like you would any other rookie quarterback. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinion video just like this one. Be on the lookout because my next video will more than likely be the final draft pick that I need to break down. Johnny Newton, who we drafted in the early second round. I'm gonna do that breakdown, weaknesses, strengths, his comp, his ceiling comp, his team fit. How is he gonna work with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne? Does this mean we're gonna trade one of those guys? Be on the lookout for that video potentially next, especially if I can get it done soon, like maybe way later tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning, because as of Friday we have rookie mini camps, and any little information, if we get any clips of Jayden Daniels throwing the ball to somebody, whatever, I'm gonna be breaking those reports out, breaking those down, doing my analysis on that. So I'm gonna try to get this Johnny Newton breakdown out before then, before we start getting rookie minicamp information out there. We'll see. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. I'm super excited. Again, from that Keyshawn Johnson video, I feel like I can relate to Jayden Daniels way more than I ever could with RG3. I loved RG3 with how he played on the field, but off the field, Jayden Daniels, for reasons I'm not even about to get into, is far more relatable. He's definitely closer to like a Lamar Jackson, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, man, make sure y'all stay tuned. Let me know in the comment section again how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Let me know how you feel about Jayden Daniels. Are you excited? Even if you were a guy that preferred Drake May, are you starting to buy in more and more over time? And hopefully maybe this video helped convince you to like him a little bit more as well, especially when you hear guys like Nick Saban and Bill Belichick absolutely loving them as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned for more videos. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Do not leave this video without leaving a like. I'm out.